Welcome to Chiefs versus Dolphins. Yes, they are in Germany, ready to go for this international series ball game against old friend Tyreek Hill. We're going to tell you all about it today. Welcome in. This is RGR Football. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy, and we're going to guide you through the preparations for an international game that is filled with hot dogs, Frankfurters, and all kinds of German-inspired things that we all know and love. How are you, Dan?
Man, I wish I could be over there right now. When these tickets dropped, my wife and I were like on trying to figure out how much it would be to go. And unfortunately, if we were, if I was like credentialed, that would be one thing. But it does not exactly work as anything other than just blowing your money out the door when you want to go and do something like that. So congrats to everyone who ended up going. I was born in Germany, which I would love to go there someday, just to because German food's also some of my favorite foods. So, but I'm doing good. It's been a good week. And outside of Monday, I think we all kind of got to blow off some steam. Hope you members enjoyed the rant that was given and the film room that we did on Wednesday to look at some of the stuff that's going on. But it's been a good week, actually. I'm doing well.
I'm glad to hear that because it started off badly. So I can understand if people were
That's
frustrated for a while.
It's very true.
And I think having something to look forward to definitely speeds it along. We are live for you guys on Friday afternoon. Happy Red Friday. We try to give you our breakdowns today on what we want to see, what has to happen for a win, and what needs to go into the game plan, because that is certainly something that we've been discussing quite a lot lately. And it's funny you bring up just how getting credentialed makes a difference. Everybody and their grandfather is available in the Frankfurt media, evidently. So I just am living on the wrong continent, but hey, we're going to get there. And I took a couple of things away today that it seems very much that the entire team is versed on propelling the NFL as a whole. A lot of mutual respect, as you would hope. You don't want to, with a team that's explosive with this, you don't want to put a lot of bulletin board paper up. You know what I mean? But I think, thank you, Francis. I should have done that. This is why I'm not really in charge of the German accent thing. Much better at the Irish I am. That's the way that it goes, because I can speak that language. So thank you. I appreciate that, Francis. But I feel like it's dumbing down just how much smolder there is underneath the first layer between this team, because there's been a lot of things said, and the guys who were at the podium today were asked quite a bit of questions about Tyreek Hill and some of the things that he said and that kind of thing. I thought everybody deflected well, but I felt like there's more of an intensity than we've seen from them in probably a month at least. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, and I think that the loss to the Broncos on Sunday helped kind of give them some focus, help focus a little bit of that attention. There was always going to be some animosity in some way, shape, or form, regardless, because of the things that were said after Tyreek Hill was traded, which didn't need to be said, didn't make any sense, and also weren't true. So there's a lot of under the belly stuff that will be coming out during this football game. I wouldn't be surprised to see Petty Patrick on Sunday morning for the Chiefs if all things go right, because I know one thing, these guys are going to be locked in, considering how Travis talked on his podcast, before they left. It's not fun. It was not fun in the clubhouse the day after that Sunday, and then getting to this game on the national stage in a game where honestly Vic Fangio has given them some trouble in the past with the Denver Broncos. So I think they're going to want to right some ships here in this game on Sunday morning.
I agree. And the morning part, I'm glad you mentioned that, because
if
I'm correct, it's spring ahead as well.
No, it's fall.
It's fall behind. Back. It's fall behind. Yes. Okay. I need it, because we're going to be lucky if I see the first quarter the way that my life goes. I'm just going to put it that way. I'm going to try to be up early.
I missed living in California when these games were at 6:30 in the morning. I loved having it 6:30, then 10 o'clock, and then the Sunday night game was at 5 o'clock in the evening. Oh, it was so magnificent. It was beautiful. I miss it.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. That would drive me insane. Oh, there's a lot of matchups that are going to go into this. We're going to talk you through the bulk of them, what we see as the highlights and what to watch for. I'm going to start here. I am going to pull up what I have from the latest injury report, because I do think that we should go over that. It is important. Saw video evidence today. Willie Gay practicing. Looks like that's a definite possibility. CEH is out. And whatever you guys think of that, I know you have opinions. We're just going to let it lie there. I don't think we have to go into the CEH designation.
Not anymore.
No, evidently not. But we are going to go through, if I can get this to pull up here eventually, because my screen is slow. I want to take a look at everybody in Miami that's on this list, because that's what I'm more concerned about. And we are going to get to some of your questions along the way as we look through all the matchups and the keys, and we will give you our predictions before we wrap up this show. If you want to get on the show, go ahead, throw the super chat in there. We will get to every super chat, and I'll try to hit as many other questions as we can as we go along. And I like where your head's at, Kurt. So we're going to leave you up there for now. Now, let me share this screen if I can get myself in here. So this is today's injury report. Not too outlandish. We knew that Rob Hunt wasn't going to play. He is declared out, as is Brandon Jones for the Dolphins. Armstead was one that we thought might be able to get back, but has been limited all week, designated as questionable. I have a feeling they're still going to try to give him a go. From what I heard, they were going to test him pre-game. That will not surprise me. Will it for you?
No, this is when you don't have Robert Hunt, you're down at tackle with Armstead maybe not playing. Like, if they're going to be able to get through this game with the defensive line and the different things that Spags is going to do, you have to try. And I know Teron Armstead has done nothing but play through injuries in his career, specifically lately. He's going to try again. I get it. This is a big game. Personally, looking ahead and looking to the postseason, I don't know if you want to risk the health of your offensive line for a game in the regular season myself. But I understand the gravity of this football game, and they want to write the narrative that they cannot beat good teams, especially on national spotlight. So they are going to push him to play. He's going to push to play. But yeah, I expect him to at least get out there and test it pre-game before the Sunday game goes up.
My thought as well. Braxton Barrows is listed as questionable as well, was limited, as is Justin Bethel. Barrios, for me in particular, is a guy that if he doesn't go, that I think ups the likelihood that you see Tyreek Hill in a return role. And maybe that's something the Chiefs were hoping to avoid. I'm guessing that Dave Toub was. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. If he's able to go, I think that might give the Chiefs a little bit of a break, unless you get to the point where I do think in the game flow, the game plan, if they are down, I do think you are going to see Tyreek back taking kicks or at least punts one way or the other.
Yeah, I think they're going to be prepared for it. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be given any opportunity to return anything, even if it's a boom kick high in the sky or angled out of bounds. I don't believe that if Tyreek Hill is back there, he will be returning any punts against this Chiefs special teams. I think Dave Toub is going to have them 100% dialed in on that because it's a big part of it. There's a reason that teams would kick away from Tyreek Hill when he was on the Chiefs. And every once in a while you saw them miss and kind of flip the script on that. So I don't believe we're going to be seeing Tommy Townsend punt directly to Tyreek Hill at all if he's a punt returner out there.
Let us hope not. I think that would be a mistake. And I'm just saying, Dave.
I think so
I know
too.
You're in charge. I'm just saying. One thing that could be an advantage for the Chiefs, Xavier Howard looks like he's listed as questionable. I hear less good things about that situation, and maybe he's not going to be 100%, or if he is able to go at all, we'll find out. Obviously, Mostert not listed with a designation, even though he was limited. Same with Ramsey. Expect both those guys on the field, as you do with Jalen Waddle. But I will say for Waddle in particular, when you're trying to defend him, he has had a history of back spasms this season. It has knocked him out a little bit. So I think when you get into contact with Jalen Waddle, I think that the plan will be for the Chiefs to try to get as physical with him as they can early and see if that may jostle him to the point where he's less effective.
That's going to be for everybody. Like, you're going to have some safety help shaded at Tyreek Hill, and you're going to jam him. You're going to do what you can to jam at him, because if there's anything that we've learned about this offense is, one, it's based on timing. It's a timing-based offense that the ball comes out quick and on time nearly every single time. And if you can throw that off, you have a chance to, one, slow them down and prevent the big explosive plays. And the Chiefs have not allowed a lot of huge explosives down the field this season. So that's going to be that matchup. Who's going to win that matchup? I think the physicality bodes well for the Chiefs, but the thing is, you can't miss. You can't miss. You got to time it right. You have to hope that if you're going to play a little bit of press without jamming, that you keep your hips underneath you and don't get turned too early, because then you might see this in the background. I'm just
trying to avoid that unless I'm doing it here at the house. Okay, that's
Right.
the goal. Yeah, it's going to come down to matchups, and we're going to have a bunch of them head to head, things that we think we can exploit and that we should expect the Dolphins to try to exploit. But
Absolutely.
that also comes in the matchups that you're going to get in DFS. And we do want to shout out, because thank you once again, because we're brought to you today by our pals over at Underdog Fantasy, where you can get in the action right now. Go to underdogfantasy.com, use our code RGR, and you can get a mystery pick'em special right now. Plus, get a $100 match deposit on your deposit today if you use the code RGR. We appreciate that, and they're helping us out because there's a lot of good stuff that you can get into the action. We're going to walk through it for you. A couple of matchups that we definitely like. Dan, I don't know what your favorite is or where you'd like to start. Is it always Mahomes? Well, probably.
It is usually. I think that this game you're going to have another one of the situations where you're going to have some man coverage on the back end at times, and Patrick's going to take off. I think we can always start pretty safe with the rush higher number. So it's 24.5 yards for Patrick Mahomes. I personally think that's in the bank once again. And I know last week, had we known going into the game plan that he was going to have the flu, I would have taken it off. It would have come off the board, guys, but we didn't know that. So that's, again, we're going to just kind of label that as the place that we start. But also, let's go to Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay.
Their run game this year has been terrible. 31st in success rate this season. It's not been good. They haven't been able to get much going. Also, their tackles have been terrible in the run game. But also, again, you keep hearing me say, but also, it's because not only is there problems, there's stacking them on themselves. You have guys missing blocks occasionally, which is forcing Isaiah Pacheco, who needs a runway, to get going because his vision's spotty still. I think it's forced him to regress a little bit and go back to kicking things outside, which when you go outside, you allow fast defenses to track downhill and travel downhill, which is creating negative plays. So this game against one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL, I'm going to go higher on his rush total this game, because I do think it's going to be a point of emphasis to get him at least over that 50, 60, even to 70 yard mark in this game, because last year their offense going into the postseason was deadly. They had one of the most efficient run games in the NFL. When you have that, everything else opens up. Right now, no team has to worry about that. So what about you?
And it comes down to Andy making those calls. And I agree with you. I will take the higher on this as well, because 8 wasn't enough last week. We know that they have to get to that 15-ish range. And I think Andy knows that too. This is going to be something that will also help them hold the ball a little bit longer. So I'm presenting with you higher on the 55.5 for Isaiah Pacheco, especially when you know it's David Long and it's Christian Wilkins. Those are the run stoppers on that defense.
Yeah.
You block those guys up, you have room to run.
I love it. We just to note, you can't submit one of these tickets if you don't have multiple teams selected. So you can't just be like all up in here on the Chiefs content and say, yeah, we're gonna submit this. But no, you got to get a little bit higher or lower on one of these. And I mean, let's go over to the Miami side, right? Let's look a little bit, because can I?
Oh, Tyreek.
Okay, look at this. Okay, I was like, I want to expand this a little bit. How many times a year do you think one receiver has had more than 7 receptions against the Chiefs? How many times? I don't know if that's happened this year. I don't believe it has.
Once, maybe? Okay.
Maybe once. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown week 1. But I have to go back and check. So do we test it? Do we say lower than 7 receptions?
You never know, because he's going to be the most motivated dude on the offense, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. And also, their offense is so concentrated between him and Jalen Waddle that it makes things a little bit difficult at times with those higher or lower on the reception totals. But I think it's safe to say that they don't really care about their tight end very much. I don't really know. I don't want to touch 1.5 receptions.
I mean,
they're so low. He doesn't even get involved. You have anything that you're looking at here?
The big one for me was Tyreek, and I will say this: I think if I saw the line correctly, it's they have him scoring half a touchdown between rushing and receiving.
This is the higher or lower, yeah. So
right. if that's where the line is, he's getting in the end zone. That's higher all day long to me. I'll be happy if they don't keep him. If he gets 2 or less, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
let me put it that
I'll
way.
be honest. One touchdown, yeah, I'll be pretty happy with that. If they, I mean, if they do as well as they've done this season, I'll be pretty happy with how they end up. But I'm with you there. I think that makes just it's no-brainer sense. But you guys know this is one of the best ways to go about DFS, the higher or lower pick'ems over here at Underdog. They have them for every single game. They even have some defensive players over here for the Dolphins. You've got, you could even, if you guys really feel spicy and you really don't think that Sky Moore can do anything, you just go over here, you smash the lower on his reception yards, right? Like, that's what you do. You guys think that he's not doing anything, right?
I'm taking the higher on Sky this week. I'm just going to tell you that.
I am too. I'm also taking the higher on receiving yards for Justin Watson. That should cash just about every single week because his average depth of target is 23 yards, guys. 23 yards. Yeah. He's being targeted down the field. One time he catches the football, he goes higher on that. So you guys know that it's always fun to go do this. I love doing this. I'm going to be in Kansas this weekend getting my haircut tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I put this in and we'll have some fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Folks, Underdog Fantasy is the place to go. They can get you everything that you need, and you can get into the action that way. There is obviously a disclaimer that you have to qualify for. Kansas does help. Here in Colorado, you also have to do the same thing. But it's the easiest way to get into daily fantasy sports. It's a lot of fun. And if you sign up with that code, you can get a $100 match deposit right now today. So check that out. It also helps us talk about the Chiefs in terms of the offensive output, which daily standard fantasy sports always is. But for me, it comes back to how do you take them on and how do you shut them down? And I think what we've seen from the Jets, what we've seen from teams that have slowed this team down, it is a combination of cover 3, 4, and 6. And for those of you who don't have that designation, we'll walk through it here in a second. But it is a top shelf that keeps Tyreek in particular underneath it, but Waddle as well. And then you start to play games with, do you drop safeties down in there or do you go into dime rather than nickel? How many linebackers do you leave on the field? Because they can run the ball as well. Still a very creative run offense. So I think that's the crux for me is the linebacker level and how many of them get to play this week, because I'm comfortable with Reed in particular down low with maybe a cover 3 look, which is single safety high, and the corners have drop-off responsibilities. That would put Brian Cook as the deep middle, who hasn't played against Tyreek. Or Waddle.
Practiced.
Yeah. Wait, did they play in the CFB, actually? They may have. No, maybe not. I can't remember.
No, that's a couple years removed.
Okay. But he certainly hasn't seen either of those guys charging downhill at him. So I think that there's a possibility of some cover 3. They have ticked that up a little bit this season when you look at the overall. But I think a cover 4 is a more likely look where you can just drop back. It allows you to still look like you're playing man, but give you that cushion. I think that's what they're going to have to do. I don't like that as much, and I know Spags don't. But how do you feel about how effective that can be?
It's going to have to be the most effective, considering you can't really shade a single high safety at cover 3 shell with Brian Cook to one side or the other, because guess what? Jalen Waddle's on the other side. So it doesn't really help you that much. I think you're going to see a lot more just too high in general from this team. That's what Spags likes to do right now anyway. They have, I think they're top 5 and too high shells for, again, but those are the cover 2s, cover 4s, those 2 deep safeties back. You see that a lot this season from the Chiefs. It's because they are so multiple. They can play cover 2, they can rotate to cover 3, and they can go to cover 4, but also blitz underneath. And they've been able to use all of their linebackers effectively, even in their base package against a lot of other teams like 3-by-1 personnel. So they're 3 tight or they're 3 wide receiver sets. They've been successful doing that. The important thing for me is the Willie Gay effect. Willie Gay being on the field is going to stress the defense to be able to get to the sidelines. Drew Tranquill is still not the most explosive guy going to his sides. He did put on a little bit of weight to help the run game, but that did impact a little bit of his side-to-side movement. Willie Gay being able to trigger downhill, but laterally is what you're going to have to do. They really want to stress the edges with their speed at running back, and that's what they're going to have to do to stop the run game. Because if you can stop at least prevent some of the bigger explosive plays in the run game, you can negate some of the play action concepts that bring those linebackers up and hit you over the top. So Willie Gay, his value, his availability, and his overall health in this game is something I will be monitoring up until game time, because it's very, very important for him to be on the field for the Chiefs defense against the Miami Dolphins.
Agree. Thank you, Daryl. We appreciate your support, buddy. And thanks for being here on a Friday live stream. Nice to see you. Guys, we are going to get to some of your questions as we get going through here, but can't emphasize this enough with Willie Gay. Only he and Richie James are listed as questionable. Clyde's the only player listed out. Everybody else is ready to go. So you don't have that linger. Obviously, they're down Nick Bolton, but it is about Willie. If he doesn't, even if he starts the game, if he isn't quite up to his normal athleticism, they're going to have to make a change pretty quick, in my opinion. That means bringing Edwards on in the back and dropping Reed down. The only problem is Reed's not a matchup for either Waddle or Tyreek in the slot. If they run those guys on the outside, I can live with it. But I think there's still going to have to be some hunting and pecking. And what that means is that Spags is going to have to figure it out. It's not going to be, we're going to go do this and it's going to take care of it. It's going to, hey, we're going to throw this at him and see what happens. Can we ride with that for a while? Okay, we're going to try this. That means there are going to be some explosive plays given up. And it's about how you bounce back. So it is up to Tranquil to steady the ship. I need a big game out of Leo, to tell you the truth, because he's going to play off the ball and he's going to play on the line of scrimmage. And without Willie, he does have the athleticism. He can run downhill, but he's going to have to be sound on his assignments, and he's going to have to track and take good angles. That's the big problem with Waddle, with Mostert, with obviously Tyreek, is your angles. You have to take good pursuit angles to stay ahead of their cutback. That's the number one goal.
Yeah, and being able to get upfield make sure you're getting into gaps and not upfield from the defensive line. Getting upfield creates natural cutback lanes in their run game, their outside zone game. And when you do that, you put your linebackers at a disadvantage. They are flowing to the traffic, they're flowing to the running back. And if you get too far upfield, you're giving Raheem Mostert the ability to say, hi, I'm going to take this for 20, maybe 30, maybe 40 yards or to the house, because I've got everyone coming this way. Don't give them those free cutback lanes. Stay sound in your gaps. This offensive line is not good. It's a bad offensive line. The Miami Dolphins have injuries. They're going to have guys playing injured and out of position. You have to be able to take advantage of what they do. Oh, what's up? Oh, okay, then go say hi to mom.
Sometimes you got to check in.
Jeez. I just get a shake on my arm and oh, mommy's home. Okay, well, that's awesome. Glad she's home. Done. So yeah, while the linebackers are going to need to be able to focus on their ability to stay sound, the defensive line does too. Like it's so important. Getting upfield is such a huge problem. And one guy who is going to have to be on his P's and Q's about that is Chris Jones, because he loves to get upfield on run plays and get downfield and try to get something happening back there. Be patient. They will come to you. It will happen if you can stay to the outside. If Trent McDuffie can come down and be that force multiplier in the run game like he has consistently been, you can force them to make those cutbacks early. If you're patient, waiting in gaps, they will come right to you. Okay? For me, that's the biggest key in stopping the run game, is getting that force multiplier and stay patient. It's not going to be easy, but staying patient as the defensive line.
Do your job. You don't have to do everybody's. Just do yours. I agree with you. Cody asked, how fired up is Travis Kelce? Do you think that getting after the pass catcher this week? I'm sure he has to be. I thought he handled it pretty well in the presser today. He's been pretty quiet all week. I know on his podcast he had a couple things to say about how he felt about that loss. And so this is one of those situations where, particularly for Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and their leadership for this roster, getting their butt kicked last week may actually be an advantage for them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there at all.
Let's hope that that's the way that it comes down. Country, how are you? If I live in the KC market, will I still get the game even if I don't have NFL Network? Yes, you should. It should be on the local affiliate. I believe that's the way that works with all international games, because there isn't another over-the-air option. So you should, but check your listings and make sure. I don't have access to the Kansas City listings in particular. So let me know if you don't. You can also stream it on a number of platforms. I think Paramount Plus will have it, as will YouTube, and obviously the Sunday Ticket there. If you guys would hit the like, we would appreciate that. Thank you, Doug, for reminding me. You do a great job, buddy. You're our new promotions manager over here for what I forget. Chris, hope you're doing good. If the Chiefs beat Miami, how big of a shot do the Chiefs have against Philadelphia? I don't think they're necessarily tied together. I think the matchups are the problems, and I do think they match up better with the Eagles than they do Miami, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, right now AJ Brown's playing like the best wide receiver in football too. You have him and Tyreek, I think, and then everybody else, and that's just kind of how it works. You have to stop some of the best receivers in the game on some of the best teams. So yeah, I agree with you. It's not 1-to-1. If they do this, they'll have a good chance. I think that because they are who they are, they're going to have a shot in any game that they're in. It's all about their confidence level and what they're successful in doing to consistently create some of the plays that they had last week that they can continue to get going. Because I think that at the end of the day, there's a lot on Patrick Mahomes' plate right now when you don't have this run game that they had last year. And he's kind of being forced to do more than he even had to do last year. And he's the focal point of the offense. So you're putting more on his plate. And when you're able to take some of it off, it makes it easier for everybody involved. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
I'm totally with you on that one. And Austin, I'm glad to hear about your stones are clearing up. So
good.
Let's hope that continues. That's
right?
a plus. I did not expect to see that one today, buddy. Daryl, thanks for 29 months as always. One of our core members. Nice to see you, bud.
Awesome. Thank you, Daryl.
And I hope you're absolutely correct. They are going to stomp the Dolphins. If you have not been on the members section or in the community tab, you have the announcements for the members only content that comes out. You have my notes from last week. You have Dan's rant this week. So make sure you go check that out on the channel right here. You can just go over to the community tab. It'll get you right to it. So super, super simple. And thank you, Daryl, as always. Cole, did anyone else see the photo of Travis posted of his Taylor Swift tattoo? I did not.
I don't know if that exists. I don't know if it's real. I would imagine that if it's a photo, it's not actually real.
I really don't care. Put her on your body if you want to. I don't care, buddy. That's what lasers are for. German Chiefs fan, nice to see you. I'm hoping Angry gets in here at some point. Dar Chiefs fan from Germany, nice to see you, buddy. I've been watching you guys since 2018. Awesome. Woo, that is incredible to hear. Thank you. You're the German fan. I love that. I'm going to be there on Sunday. Really appreciate your content. Well, I hope you have a blast. I have to say, everything that I've seen from behind the scenes, the city, Frankfurt itself has really opened their arms to this team, as well as the Dolphins, but just having the NFL there. So I'm really pumped. I'd love to hear from you after the ball game next week sometime on your thoughts on how the whole thing went logistically and what the league did and how the city reacted to it. Would love to have some information on the ground. So hit me at the what was I going to say? At the email, if you would, German. I would love to see that. Let me see if I can pull it up here. This is my email that you guys can contact us here for the show or me directly. Use that, rgrpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd love to hear from you and see what you saw on the ground. Very intrigued by that. Thank you, sir. Chris, I hope Andy goes full speed on Miami and not 50%. I let them not hang around. He's got to, and that's because with the striking power that Tyreek has, and I should take a step back. This is not to just leave Tua out of this. Someone has to deliver him the ball, right? Is he the cannon quarterback like Mahomes is? No, but he's doing a good job putting it where his guys need it, running this offense efficiently so that he can maximize his weapons. Both Tyreek and Waddle can burn you. So there is no room to take your foot off the pedal. You get up, you stay up. You keep pushing to be up more. I would not let off until I was up four scores. I need 24-point lead before I start to even think about relaxing.
And I'll take it a little bit step further with Tua. He's been even better than he was before injury last season. He's playing his best football as a quarterback in college and the NFL. He's taking some chances down the sideline. Last year, the game plan really was to force him to throw the ball outside the numbers down the field. Well, guess what? This year he's doing that more, and he's doing it more successfully. He's doing it with better anticipation and being able to get it down the field accurately enough for his playmakers to make the plays. So you have to still respect that he's going to be able to take those chances. It's all about squeezing those downfield routes. Like I showed you guys the Broncos were doing to the Chiefs. You have to be able to squeeze those. Like that's why cover 4 is going to be important in this football game. If those downfield routes, you have to be able to squeeze them downfield, force him to check the ball down. that's going to be his second to third read. So if you're having him check the ball down, guess what? That means more time for your pass rush against a good bad offensive line, more time or less time for him to be able to make his reads properly. You're speeding him up. He's not the best out of structure. That's the way you beat this team right now. It is.
Well, and you nailed what was one of my keys to this ball game is make him get to the third read, because that means it's not Tyreek and it's not Jalen Waddle. And I can live with everybody else getting the ball. So that is exactly, and whether that means that you can play off in a cover 4 shell where you're giving distance, but you're breaking on the ball and everybody's swarming, right? That's one way to do it. You can also mess that up. And I think cover 2 man is overplayed in this league, sometimes by the Chiefs as well. But if you're going to go and get in his face, you just can't miss. Like you said earlier, if you're going to contact those 2 guys, you have to be certain of it. And that's the only concern that I have about Watson and Williams in particular. I'm comfortable with Snead and McDuffie clearly, but it's the other guys. If you whiff, you're in danger, and that's the problem. Broadcasters, glad you're going to be there, buddy. Glad you're going to represent Kingdom and Country. Glad to see you. Angry did make it. Nice to see you.
What's going on, Angry?
This is your week, I think. You were the poster child for this ball game, so glad you made it. Let's see. We have Cody. Nice to see you again. Just joined for the first time in a while. Dan, love the breakdown this week. How do you guys think the Spags and the DBs plan to the left-handed and the potent wide receivers? The left-handed is an interesting aspect of it because normally you're going to see L'Jarius over on that side. So I think that kind of plays into what they want. But I expect L'Jarius to travel with Tyreek a little bit, at least early in the game, to try to get some disruption on those routes. If that does happen, then if it's Jay Will in particular out there on an island, I think you're going to see Tua go to his left as he likes to do, and that kind of sets him up for. So it could be a long day for whoever's the outside corner if Snead is traveling.
Yeah, I appreciate you checking out the breakdown, Cody. Thank you very much for that. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I agree with you. You have to be able – I think that at the end of the day, one of the best corners this season at allowing separation in terms of not allowing that much has been L'Jarius Snead. He's been fantastic this season. And so the one guy, Jalen Waddle can get his a little bit. Okay, he's going to get his a little bit. Like he's a really good player. Tyreek's going to get his a little bit. Limitation. How can you limit them? They're going to get it. Like I totally understand. But they were able to take out Justin Jefferson. I know he's a bigger target, a bigger body player, so you have more area to hit at. But they took it to him. They're going to do the same thing in this game to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think they have to. And the one guy so far this season that's been excellent at doing that on the Chiefs team is L'Jarius Snead. Get into Tyreek Hill's head. Get into it. Be physical with him. That's it. Like, it's a mental game at the end, and if you can get him a little bit mad at you, go for it. Get him a little bit mad at you.
Because in the process, you're also getting to Tua faster, shaking him up. And then by the time Hill recovers, which I generally think he will, hopefully you've made your mark there at that point. Thank you, Cody, and glad you made it back. Thank you, Daryl, as always. Appreciate you. I know I put that up there before, but I just came to it again. Cole, Richie James questionable for this week. How are you feeling on him? I honestly don't know. I haven't seen him run any routes. I didn't get anything that had any film of him. If he's really loose and able to run at full speed, then I say you give it a shot, because we should be condensing, as we've talked about the last 2 weeks, condensing the reps down for the wide receivers. He is a veteran. We know he can move the chains. The injury sidetracked him. But if you're going to feed some guys that you need to catch the ball reliably, he's on that list for this group.
Yeah, and I think that for me personally, I'm just resting him. I'm not even going to activate him for this football game. Just coming off the injury, they've had issues already getting their players the football. Adding another wide receiver to that mix to me right now doesn't make a lot of sense. And as much as I think that he was a chain mover, with the Giants, I still think he is, but let that develop after the bye. You don't need to rush him back right now. There's no reason to, in my opinion. So I would just allow the team to try to get through this game with the receivers that they've been using, try and develop a rapport with the guys that they've been running out there as much as they can.
Agreed. And I think what we see will tell whether they agree with you or if there's something else going on that they feel they need to push him.
Yeah.
That may be the most telling piece that we get. Thank you, Cole. Nice to see you, bud. Doctor Who, you bring up a very good question. Did I miss it? They brought someone up to replace Clyde. I did not see an official move. They generally don't announce them until Saturday or sometimes even Sunday morning. My guess is P. Ryan made the trip and he'll be active. I don't know that for certain.
No, that would be my guess as well.
Okay. So we'll let you know. I'll try to drop a quick short when we do get that info. Thank you, Mr. or Doctor Who. Sorry, didn't mean to throw you under the bus there, buddy. Doug, which wide receiver will show up and make plays? I'm gonna let you go first before I say something stupid.
I mean, I know we all want, maybe not all of us, but I think at the end of the day, we'd all want Sky Moore to have a game. Everything that's happened this season after the copious amounts of hype that we saw from the team, even Patrick Mahomes, with him all off season. Right now, we are seeing that the balls that are being thrown to Sky Moore are the most off-target throws of any of the wide receivers on the team. Why is that? Well, something is not going on that's going well with that connection, whether it's Sky not being in the right position, whether it's Patrick just kind of missing him. Because I'll be honest, sometimes he's just missed him. Their connection is not on the same page. He's throwing the ball accurately just about to every other wide receiver in terms of looking at the averages. And it's the dip is to Sky Moore. So there's something wrong with their relationship on the field. He expects him to be somewhere else, or timing is off. Something is weird. But this is a week that they have to figure it out. In my opinion, if you don't see Sky Moore have maybe 5 targets in this game, it's not happening the rest of the season. I don't believe it's going to happen. But bye weeks can change things. I just, after last week, I feel like it would be counterintuitive of them to just leave him for dead.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I wasn't going to say Sky, but I'm glad you brought him up because I think it goes for Kadarius as well, who I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
The training wheel's got to come off. Whatever you've been saving him for, this is one game, especially with Tyreek on the field, where you have to have an answer, and that is Kadarius Toney. I double-checked, and he has run 64 routes out of the slot.
Yeah. He's
run 63 from elsewhere. So that does include a couple of lining up in the backfield as well. But for the most part, call it inside, outside. I do think if you're going to run MVS and Watson, and if Richie gets on the field, and you're going to go the veteran route, Kadarius Toney needs the guy exploiting the slot. Whatever's going on with Sky, I think that they can bring it around. I'm just not sure this is the game to do it. So I want to see Kadarius Toney in the slot, running some verticals, running those deep outs, and running, honestly, the overs. Those long stretch kind of slant to over conversions that I think that they can do, and he does really, really well. They just got to get him. They got to use him as the weapon that he is, and I think they've been screwing around too long. And this is the point where the rubber hits the road. Obviously, you're going to get Rice in there as well. So amongst the top 5, I want to see Rice.
I disagree. Like, they were throwing the ball to. I'm going to get myself mad by saying it, but they were throwing to Kadarius Toney down the field last year in the AFC Championship game. Let's not forget that. This actually happened. We didn't imagine it. So if they do, again, I said this on the live after the game on Sunday. If they don't trust his body, you got to cut ties. I'm done. I'm sorry. If you don't trust him enough to play him after you traded for him, fine. Be done with the experiment. Move on. Let other people get in line that you will play.
I'm with you. You got to take it to your advantage. And this is the other thing that I want to show, because this is what's bothering me. Rashee Rice, you look at his total alignments in the slot versus wide. Rashee Rice is lining up in the slot more than he is on the outside. And I think that's where it has to shift now, especially with the Watson injury, but he's back. He can go. You they have trust. But I don't want him to have to do the whole thing. I want Rashee Rice outside more. I want Kadarius Toney in the slot more, running those routes that we know that he's capable of doing, especially when you have to tack what I think is the weakest point on this. You lost Bethel last week at their slot corner. He is still on the injury list. Don't know if he'll even play. The guy that replaced him for the most snaps gave up 92% completion rate for over 80 yards. That's the sweet spot if you're in the passing game. It needs to be condensed. And as much as you want to see Rasheed play, this volume, which is what is it? Not quite 60-40, but it's approaching that where he's more in the slot. That's got to be over with. We need more quickness and ability in short area in the slot to take advantage of what is the matchup there. And that's what I'm waiting for. I want to see them hit the quick game and come out with not just a top 15 script, but a game plan that involves the whole first half of getting the ball out of Patrick's hands quickly. And maybe every now and then you take a shot, but it's got to be 5-step drop and gone, is my opinion.
Honestly, I'd like to see them do a little bit of 4 receiver, 1 tight end. I would like to see that. Just get a little bit different. You always have a running back on the field. If you don't, but you have Kadarius Toney, who you can clearly run out of the backfield, maybe you change some things around. I don't know. I want to see something different. That's all. I'm just kind of getting they want to screw around on short yardage situations so much. Why don't we screw around during the game a little bit with multiple personnels, not just, traditional 1 tight end or 1 running back every single time. Do a little bit of something different and actually stress some of these defenses. If they're going to play off, get 4 receivers out there. Get 4 of them.
Power screen them. Give me a jet motion screen. That's fine.
Yeah, something
I'd love
different.
That. Hey, yeah, use the tools that you have available to you. There are weaknesses in that defense. The run on the defensive line, the slot corner position in particular, you got to take advantage of. We're gonna speed it up here, folks, because we got a few more questions, and then we're gonna give you our predictions before we get on down the road. I know it is Friday, and we all got stuff to do. It's almost over. Is the defensive line having a great season? I would qualify it that way for the unit as a whole. Would you like to see a little bit more? The absence of Amenhu, I think, slowed everything down, but I would say that to this point.
Yeah, I think that they're doing a good job right now of just maximizing what's there. And, they're blitzing. They're not blitzing as much as they ever have before under Spags. They're actually kind of blitzing less, but it's timely blitzes, and they trust the front 4 to get the job done and to command double teams to Chris Jones and then win elsewhere. Honestly, the emergence of George Karlaftis over the last probably 3 weeks and his hand usage starting to come along has been a huge boon to their defensive line. Like, he had 2 sacks last week. He's been just, his trajectory has been going this way. Mike Dana this year has been going this way. I know he's been, they haven't won quick in the same sense that top defensive ends do, but they're consistently winning quicker than they were last year. That's important.
Yeah, I will not argue with you. And it can all be Chris. It's got to continue to coalesce around him. I know Chris Balderas, you have another question about Chris. I'm not going to quite get to it because we've covered it quite a bit. But yes, it is the rest of the group that has to coalesce around him and step up and put pressure on that offensive line that isn't that great to begin with. So it is definitely a group effort, and that's exactly how it has to go. Drunken German, appreciate you. You were listening to PFF this morning. They said that KC has 6 non-D linemen with double-digit pass rushes. That's insane. They're by far the most versatile Spags has ever had. And it's the nice because they peppered in the linebacker blitz. Unlike years past, it was the DB blitzes where he felt safe, but he still felt he had the middle of the field manned. Now when he's a little bit more blitz happy at the linebackers, I think it's more effective, and I think it's more cautionary for the quarterback because, no offense to Trent McDuffie or anybody else, it's a lot scarier to have Nick Bolton bearing down on you if you're Tua than it is to have, L'Jarius Sneed skinny old coming at you.
Well, you're not wrong. They can see that coming. Are you more afraid of the pressure you can see coming, or are you more afraid of the one that you can't see coming? I would venture a guess to say you can't, because you can't prepare your body to get hit.
I think it depends on how many times you've been hit. I think that plays a factor. Thank you, German. Broadcasters, do you think the Chiefs defense is good enough to hold another team under 21 points? I don't think any team gets to 30 in this matchup. We will rock Frankfurt in Sunday. I hope that you have a great time, and I'm glad that there's some great representation in Chiefs Kingdom. I think it's going to be right on the edge. I think 30 might be stretching it a little bit because I think there's enough pride there. You guys are going to hear my prediction, though. I think the defense is going to be solid. 21 is a goal that I'd love if they met, but that's not what I foresee.
It's going to be tough. The Eagles' defense did give them some blueprint, though. Even the Patriots' defense And I would tell you that this Chiefs defense is better than the New England Patriots defense this year. I would tell you that right now. I think that they're better. So there is a realistic possibility that they get to that 21 number. And if they can hold them just to 21, there's a very realistic chance that they win this football game. But again, we'll get to our predictions here in a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to hit a couple last call for super chats if y'all want to get them in. We will then get to our predictions. Sugar, yeah, I think it is essential. It is one of the keys to this ball game is getting pressure on Tua. He already wants to throw the ball fast. So if you can contact him by being quick to him, I think that will help the ball game. Rob, who should be our 3 starting receivers the rest of the season? I don't know. Right now, Dan, I think we agree on Rasheed. Is that where we end?
I don't know if it's feasible, but I'll be very honest with you. I don't even know if MVS should be a starting wide receiver right now. I would have Justin Watson take his spot, Rasheed Rice, and Sky Moore. That's what I would do.
I would put Tony in there until he breaks. You know, if you're going to pay him,
and
ride him for all his worth.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I just from what we're seeing, I think that there's enough out there to get him on the field more. But him versus Kadarius, honestly, do what you got to do. Just get, or if they just say screw it, McCole Hardman, and he knows the offense. Like at this point, I don't care. Figure out who you want to have as the 3 starting guys and just play them more.
Just do it.
Let them get confidence into what they're doing, please.
It's funny. This question reminds me that one bad kick return, and I've already forgotten about McCole because I haven't mentioned him the whole damn stream. Sorry, McCole.
It doesn't bother me. I'll be honest. It doesn't bother me. The muffed punt at that point doesn't bother me.
I get it.
And I know everyone wanted to dog on him for even thinking about it. He was right. And Dave Toub was right to return that punt. They had so much space. I got no problems with them returning the punt. He just dropped it. And you want to know what? No one gives Rasheed Rice enough crap for his drop. Everyone dogs on everybody else, and I love Rasheed Rice, but his drop is just as bad. It's terrible.
It was terrible. I won't say it's just as bad when it's on the 5-yard line for McCole, but I will say
you know what I mean, though. Like,
yeah, I get it. I totally understand what you're saying. My only thing with Dave's comments, and I'm glad that he backs up McCole. He should, but the problem is I don't care about space. You got to know your guy. McCole does not like contact around him when he's catching the ball. Period. Never has. So you got to know your guy. That if he's got no matter how much space, if he feels, especially when the dude like out of his periphery passes him and is waiting for the ball to bounce in the back, you know that he's feeling the pressure from behind as well. So I would just say, just fair catch the damn thing or walk away. Be done with it. Let's not push our luck. But hey, you got to love it when your coach is in your corner, and that's what the bottom line is for the players. Doug, thank you for this. If you guys would hit the like and the sub, we would appreciate you. You guys are probably all subs already. Rob, thank you for your question. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Rob.
Kathy wanted to know, is Noah Gray okay? He's Noah Gray. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Doing his thing. It just ain't much of a thing. It's okay. Cody, Rice against Ramsey on the outside and KT in the slot versus Holland. If it's Holland, yeah. Is the other kid Kador, or I don't know how you pronounce him. He's the one
Kohu, I think.
What's that?
Kohu?
Okay.
Kohu.
I don't know which
it's
one
something like that. I apologize about the enunciation there, but
no, fair enough. You're probably better than me.
He's given up some stuff this year, guys. Attack him. And honestly, if I see Kadarius Toney on Javon Holland, I'm not throwing the football. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Javon Holland's a legitimate dude.
So Cody, that is probably what we're going to see, and that's exactly what we're thinking is probably going to have to work. She's going to have to earn every target that he gets, because I do think if I'm them, what am I looking to take away? Am I wasting Ramsey on Watson or MVS? Probably not. I'm taking the young kid and I'm trying to lock him out.
He's probably going to play most of his snaps in the slot in this game. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to. Jalen Ramsey's going to be in the slot in this game.
How many bad passes do we expect this game? I got 4.
Over under. I was about to say over under at 2. I would probably set it.
I got the over.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say 3. I don't think they're going to get to 4, but I think 3 is absolutely in play.
Okay. And last one for today, make sure you guys, if you want in Underdog Fantasy, use our code RGR. If you want to get over, I forgot to mention this too. If you're ready, and I know that we have a lot of stuff to prepare for, but tomorrow is Saturday. So if you are ready and you want to get in on the action right now, this is what NFL 33 looks like right now. Brandon Olson has our top prospects to watch for tomorrow's ball games, leading with Caleb Williams. Go check that out. You have my pass rushers and the metrics up from last week, the top 15, all still there. And then you're going to have a special today from Billy that's going to put out some content that you want to see for this weekend for the NFL. So check that out and get subbed over at NFL 33. I think you guys are going to dig it. And that said, I think at the end of this day, we're going to be happy with the outcome. Do you want me to go first?
How about this? I'll go first because you can soften the blow. I'm not entirely sure the Chiefs are going to win this football game. I'll be very honest with you. I don't have a confident prediction in this, and I don't believe I've ever picked against the Chiefs in our predictions, but I don't think they win this football game right now. And that's not because I don't have confidence in the team. What they're going through offensively, I don't think you figure out in a week. This is going to be the toughest test the defense has faced all season. I don't think they're going to lose as bad as they did to the Broncos. I think it's going to be a much closer game, but I think that they lose 27-24 to the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. It's certainly within the fringes of possibility. I agree with you. Dustin, will Willie play this Sunday? We hope so. He's listed as questionable, so we won't know until game time. I hope that he's feeling well, though, because they could use him. And then one other question came in. I'll just talk about Tyreek. I feel like they might bait and switch us. Waddle and Mostert are going to have a big game, and that's possible as well. But I do feel better about defending those guys than I do about Tyreek just because he's Tyreek. So that said, I see this as a slugfest. I see this as they probably get dumped on early, and I think Tyreek gets happy, much like you saw in the Niners Super Bowl. Like I think it takes a kick in the teeth, but I feel like after last week, they're prepared to respond. So I think it will be a battle. I think it will come down to the fourth quarter. In the end, it is about containing those guys. You're not going to stop any of them. I do think it's Tyreek with multiple scores, and probably Mostert is the guy that I'm leaning on. Maybe you're right, though, Craig. Maybe it does become Waddle. We're going to find out. But I see this game as a Chiefs victory, 28-27 coming down the stretch. And they are going to have to play 59 minutes and 59 seconds to get it done.
Like I said, I don't have a confident take either way. I don't really know how to judge this football game. It's not, I do think it's going to be close. One thing I can almost guarantee, I would be surprised if there was a blowout on either side, but I felt this way going into the Chiefs 49ers game last year. I remember I felt very unconfident about it, and what they do, they lit them up. So what do I know? Hopefully I'm wrong because I don't lose to the Dolphins, but I'm not like I said, I'm not confident they figure out all their offensive stuff now, and the bye week is right after this where they might be figuring some of that out. So tough game, tough spot, big spot. I really do. They're going to have a shot. They always do. They got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce like that. They always do.
Yeah, I'm with you. We'd like to know what you think. Put your predictions here in the comments below on the video, especially as we're going to wrap it up, and you guys are going to be on rewatch here real quick. Appreciate you guys for being here on a Friday afternoon. I hope your Red Friday goes well. Enjoy your Saturday. Check out NFL 33 for the college stuff and what you should be watching, and then we will be bright and early. I won't be on Twitter. I'm just going to tell you that. I'll be taking my notes. I will not be on social media because it'll be a coffee game for me. I hope that you guys enjoy it, but we will be live post-game. So join us here. We hope you enjoy your weekend, and we're going to catch up with you later. Dan, enjoy your weekend. Cook something fun.
That brisket that I was talking about, we're doing it on Sunday. I'm doing it Sunday. It's going to be on while the game's going. So I'm excited to share that with you. I've never done something that large before.
That massive. Brand new segment on the Monday Q&A. What's Dan cooking? We're going to get to that. You guys have a good weekend. We'll catch you later.